There was a time when the world did not belong to animals. Long before there were footprints on land, before birds flew in the sky, and even before organisms had eyes to observe their surroundings, Earth was dominated by plants. A green layer gradually spread across the continents, growing from barren rock and helping transform the planet in ways that made later, more complex life possible. However, these early forests were very different from the ones we see today. They were simpler, more primitive, but extremely important. This story begins over 470 million years ago, when land was almost lifeless. The continents were mostly made up of rock and sediment, exposed to strong sunlight and constant erosion. At that time, most life existed in the oceans. However, in areas where water met land, an important transition began to take place. The earliest land plants were very simple in structure. They were small, lacked roots and leaves, and did not yet have a vascular system. Instead, they lived on moist surfaces and absorbed water directly through their bodies. They can be compared to modern mosses, but even more primitive. Despite their limitations, these plants marked the first step in the evolution of life on land. Over millions of years, plants gradually evolved more advanced structures. Around 430 million years ago, during the Silurian period, plants developed vascular tissue. This was a major evolutionary step, allowing them to transport water and nutrients more efficiently throughout their bodies. As a result, plants could grow taller and adapt to drier environments, no longer relying entirely on constant moisture. A representative example from this stage is Cooksonia. This plant was very small, only a few centimeters tall, with thin branching stems. At the tips were spore-producing structures. Although it did not yet have true leaves or fully developed roots like modern plants, Cooksonia marked an important transition. Plants were beginning to expand beyond water-dependent environments and spread across land. By the Devonian period, around 400 million years ago, plant life became more diverse and complex. Stems grew thicker, and true roots began to develop, allowing plants to anchor firmly in the soil and absorb nutrients more effectively. Leaves also evolved, increasing the surface area for photosynthesis and enabling plants to produce more energy. It was during this time that the first forests on Earth began to form, marking a major milestone in the history of life. These were not forests of oak or pine. Instead, they were dominated by strange and ancient plants, species that no longer exist, many of which would appear unfamiliar, even unsettling in the modern world. Among them was Archaeopteris, one of the earliest tree-like plants. It could grow up to 10 meters tall, with a sturdy woody trunk and wide-reaching branches. Its fern-like leaves formed a dense canopy overhead. Its appearance marked a major turning point. This was one of the first true forests on Earth. As trees spread, ecosystems began to transform. Fallen leaves and plant debris accumulated, forming the first true soils. Roots anchored the ground, reducing erosion. The atmosphere itself began to change. As plants absorbed carbon dioxide and released increasing amounts of oxygen, slowly the planet was being reshaped from the ground up. Then came the Carboniferous period, around 359 to 299 million years ago, a time when plant life reached an extraordinary scale. The climate was warm and humid, and vast swampy forests stretched across the land. In these conditions, plants didn't just survive, they thrived. Towering above the wetlands were giant plants like Lepidodendron, rising over 30 meters tall. Their trunks were straight and mostly unbranched, marked with distinctive diamond-shaped patterns where leaves had once grown. At the top, they formed crowns of long, narrow leaves. Alongside them grew ancient horsetails, relatives of modern species but far larger. Some reached the height of today's trees. With hollow, jointed stems and whorls of thin branches, ferns spread across the forest floor and climbed upward into the canopy, creating dense layers of vegetation. These forests were thick, humid, and dimly lit. Oxygen levels in the air were significantly higher than today, which may have contributed to the massive size of many organisms. The ground was saturated with water, and decomposition happened slowly, allowing plant material to build up over time. Over millions of years, this accumulated organic matter was buried and compressed, eventually forming coal, the same resource humans extract and use today. In a very real sense, these ancient forests still shape the modern world, but dominance never lasts forever. Toward the end of the Carboniferous and into the Permian period, the climate began to shift. The Vlajny, Swampy environments that had supported these vast forests started to disappear. Continents drifted and merged into the supercontinent Pangaea, altering weather patterns and shrinking tropical wetlands. As conditions grew drier, the giant plants that once dominated began to decline. Species adapted to wet environments, like lepidodendron and giant horsetails, struggled to survive. And in their place, a new chapter in the history of plant life began. Seed plants were a major step in evolution. Unlike plants that reproduce with spores, seeds protect the embryo and provide stored nutrients. This allows plants to survive in more environments, including dry areas. One well-known group is conifers. They have needle-like leaves and thick protective coatings that help reduce water loss. Their seeds can travel long distances, helping them spread widely. Around 140 million years ago, during the early Cretaceous period, a major change happened. Flowering plants appeared and quickly spread across the earth. They introduced new ways of reproduction using flowers and fruits. Fruits became especially important. By surrounding seeds with soft tissue, plants could attract animals to eat them. As animals moved, they carried the seeds to new places. Because of this advantage, flowering plants became the most common group on Earth. Many older plant groups could not compete, so they declined or went extinct. Extinction has always been part of nature. Some plants disappeared due to slow environmental changes. Others were lost during major events like volcanic activity or climate shifts. Even so, these plants did not vanish completely. Fossils preserve their shapes, from leaves to microscopic structures. These fossils help scientists understand ancient ecosystems. Today, plants like ferns, mosses, and conifers still exist. They are living connections to the past. Plants are not just background scenery. They play a key role in the history of life on Earth. Plants changed the Earth long before animals did. They helped shape the air, create soil, and build the base for all ecosystems. Without plants, life as we know it would not exist. The giant plants of the past are gone, but their impact is still with us. It exists in every forest, every field, and even in the oxygen we breathe. Their story is not about suddenly disappearing. It is about constant change, adapting, competing, and surviving over millions of years. Even today, their remains are still beneath our feet, buried in layers of rock and coal. They are silent, but they are still there. They remind us that the world we see now is only one part of a much longer story. A story not written in words, but in leaves, roots, and the slow growth of life itself.